What would your donor base look like if you communicated powerful stories to them once a quarter? What about once a month? Having a regular strategic communication plan to talk with your donors can not only increase donations, but can actually help foster lifelong givers to your organization. If you're struggling with inconsistent one time gifts or communication campaigns that just fall flat, or feeling like you're leaving donations on the table, I've got something I think you might want to try. Today, we're breaking down impact videos, what they are, and what kind of return on investment they can bring to your nonprofit. And surprise, it's a lot. So, first up, what are impact videos? The name says a lot about what they are. Impact videos, or impact updates as we often call them, I'll use both today, are 2-minute videos that share a powerful story of work that you've done as a nonprofit since the last time you've communicated with your donors. They are not something that's been done 5 years ago. They are current, up to date, and relevant with what's happening in the world today. So let's break down this statement. Number one, 2-minute videos. Impact updates are short by design. It's not that people don't have long attention spans nowadays. Think about how easy it is to binge watch Netflix or Hulu every night. Yeah, I'm looking at you, looking at me. I'm in that boat more often than I like to admit. It's not that people have short attention spans, it's all about the context in which they are viewing the content. If someone is scrolling through Instagram, they are likely looking for quick videos. If they're on YouTube, they usually spend a little bit more time. If they are on their couch watching TV, that can be upwards of hours they spend watching content without a break. Impact updates, by design, are meant to be sent out via email and posted to social channels like YouTube. A donor who receives an email with a link to a 5-minute video likely won't watch the whole thing. But a 2-minute video? That's short enough to be quickly digested and long enough to tell a complete story that leaves the donor feeling, honestly, proud that they contributed to that story. They're a powerful story of work. This is where nonprofits thrive. You likely have tons of powerful stories of impact from the work you're doing. The hardest part, honestly, is picking the most powerful story from that bunch. Here is how I would go about finding the best story. Number one, is this story about our target audience? If you work with providing education for underserved communities, but the story you're considering is how you helped a private school with their curriculum, it's probably not the best story. Is it cool? Sure. But the story you pick should be aligned with your mission specifically. The more razor focused you are, the more powerful the story is. Does the story have a real, tangible problem that gets solved? People like drama. There's a reason that shows end in a cliffhanger before each commercial. It makes it more likely that you'll come back and watch the next segment. You want to see how the hero of the story solves the problem staring them in the face. Without a problem to solve, the story falls flat and people lose interest. To check if the story is good, look for the problem. The bigger the problem is that gets solved, the more powerful the story is. And then finally, what role did your organization play in the story? Were you the driving force that solved the problem? Or were you the guide who helped someone else solve a problem? Both of these can be powerful if framed right. What we want to avoid, though, is a cool story that you played minimal to no role in. That is where things can start to feel tacky or cheesy, and you definitely don't want that as part of your brand. Once you have your story, impact updates shape it into a powerful statement piece that reinforces your brand inside the donors' minds as a nonprofit that is making a consistent impact. And that's the key, consistency. Work that you've done as a nonprofit. The tendency for most nonprofits is to confuse the work that they do with who they are as an organization. And I get why it happens. The missions of nonprofits and the work that is being done are so closely related that the two can become confusing and blurred. Impact updates help separate the two. Until donors have given for a few years and know exactly who they are giving to, oftentimes donors are just giving to give. They may have been moved by your mission or seen a powerful photo that you posted and felt compelled to give. That's great, but it's not going to keep them around. As soon as another compelling movement catches their eye, they're gone. So, impact updates can help combat this by consistently giving donors the content they are actually looking for, the stories of impact from the work you're doing. And here's the thing, you're doing the work. I believe this wholeheartedly. If you weren't doing work, your organization wouldn't exist very long. The question is, do people outside your organization know you're doing work? Do they know how much work that you're doing? If you are seen as a nonprofit that is constantly doing work, donors are more likely to get involved. If they don't know what you're up to, they are more likely to take their money somewhere else. And last piece, since the last time you communicated with your donors, recent and relevant. These are two key factors for impact updates. This reinforces the point we just made about the amount of work that you're doing. If you're sharing stories from 5 years ago, that's great, but that's 5 years ago. It can come across like you're resting on your laurels rather than continuing to get after it because the mission isn't over and we know that there's still work to do. Impact updates showcase your consistent work to donors so they can have confidence that their money is being utilized to make consistent and meaningful change in their communities. And I know this can be hard. I can't tell you how many times I personally slacked on sending out my monthly newsletter when I was working in a nonprofit. Putting these communication campaigns together can be time consuming and can feel like a waste when after you send it, you get a 15% open rate and 5 unsubscribes and no donations. Impact updates can actually make an impact here too. Here are the top 5 highlights of how impact updates make a difference. Number 1, including video inside of your email campaigns can reduce unsubscribe rates by 26 to 75%. Videos naturally have a higher engagement and perceived value than text-based emails alone, which can leave donors feeling more inclined to continue receiving your communications. That's good news. Number 2, it can increase your open rate by 19%. As a nonprofit, you're likely already high on open rates, so a 19% increase over time can be a substantial boost to your overall communication and how many donors are actually reading your emails. Number 3, up to 57% of donors who view a video about a nonprofit's work decide to give. Imagine if you had a video going out to your donors every quarter. How many of them might decide to give just because you kept popping up in their inbox at the right time with the right message? Number 4, if you take your impact updates and put them on your website or on a landing page, that page can have up to an 80% conversion boost over the same landing page that doesn't have a video. And finally, my personal favorite, number 5, the average return on investment for fundraising videos, which impact updates can fall in that category, is between 4 and 7 times. That means for every $1 you spend on video productions, nonprofits usually report that they get between $4 and $7 back. That is huge. If you're interested in seeing more of these stats or checking if video production might be the right next step for your nonprofit, we actually created a guide just for you. You can find it in the link in the description below. When we're talking about return on investment, that last point gets me. A 4 to 7x return. What I think is key to that, though, is making sure you're working with a production company that has a plan, a process, and can actually do what they say they're going to do. Impact updates are powerful tools that must be crafted in the right way, with the right message, and distributed at the right time in order to maximize their results. Choosing to spend $500 on a videographer in college might sound like a good idea on paper, but without a plan or a system to follow, that might end up just being money down the drain and a really, really draining experience. Don't let that happen to you. You have the tools to understand exactly what an impact update is and the return on investment it can generate for your nonprofit. So here's a quick list to get you started with using impact updates the right way. Number 1, select your stories. What do you want to say to your donors? What do they want to hear? How can you tailor your communication to speak directly to that? These are the questions that you have to ask, and this is the first step to any successful campaign, determining what you're going to say. Number 2, determine your cadence. The questions you got to ask: how often are you going to send these out? For smaller orgs that don't have a lot of bandwidth to create campaigns like this, quarterly or biannually might be a good starting point. This still gives you regular touch points with your donor base without exhausting your team trying to create fresh content every single month. For bigger orgs with more members, quarterly or even monthly is probably better for you. With more people working with you, you have the possibility for more stories, and donors will usually appreciate more regular communication from you, as long as it's still high quality, which it would be. Number 3, shoot and release. Start the video with the main problem that the story is going to solve. Highlight key players, testimonies, or challenges that were faced along the way. Tie it all together just inside of 2 minutes, and you'll have yourself a solid video to showcase your impact to donors. If all of this sounds like a lot, I get that. You likely want to focus your time on actually doing the work of your organization rather than making content, right? If you're at that point, it might be time to consider investing in a professional production partner. Someone who understands the work you're doing, offers creative ideas and insight, and can take point on communicating your message effectively on your behalf so that you can get back to doing what you do best. If you're in the DMV and want to have a conversation about what that looks like, we'd be happy to talk with you. You can find a link to a free discovery call in the description below. Now you've got all the tools you need to start creating effective impact updates for your donor base. Get out there, do amazing work, and tell people your story.